The history of the Bronx Expressway. With me, your host, I'm crazeenydriver, and I haven't been on for a while because I've been hooked up with this Barrett Jackson car auction that's been on TV all week. I've been spending all my time watching that when I can and playing the fantasy bid game and drooling over cars that I can never afford. But I want to talk about legendary builder Robert Moses today and his designs for the Bronx Expressway and some weird quirks about it. These pictures here were taken, back in the 50s, I guess, around 1950 or so. This is the very beginning, coming up the George Washington Bridge. I'm sure these pictures are not familiar to you, and they're not familiar to me either, but this is more what you probably know of as you come up the George Washington Bridge. But did you know that the Bronx was actually built in stages? I want to talk about Stage 1, which you are looking at right now. Stage 1 consists of the section from the Bruckner Interchange all the way to the Bronx River Parkway, which is where these pictures are taken, right at the Bronx River Parkway interchange. This section began completion in 1948 and was actually opened in 1955. This viaduct that I'm working today is the last original viaduct, to my knowledge, that has not been totally rebuilt. Now let me explain to you what I mean by totally rebuilt, because this is important. Take a look at that divider. That divider is not made of concrete. That is actual steel, made to withstand 18-wheelers blasting into it at full speed. And trust me, that divider holds up. I've seen it hit many times. This is a bad section of elevated highway. It's always important to be parked in a safe area, as you can see I am, with all the emergency lights working and cones out. Not that that's going to mean anything. But take a look at these pillars right in front of you with the graffiti on them. This is what I'm going to ask you guys. Some of you folks might remember some of this. At one time, this was the end of the Bronx. And this was actually a ramp that was dismantled many, many years ago. I never even saw it myself. It's always been gone. But some of you folks who were around back then may remember them, and I'd like you to get in touch with me if you do. I'm on the Sheridan Expressway right here. And on the right is where the terminus was. The ramps actually came out here. So I decided to photograph this area. And if you're wondering why that second guardrail is there on the inside, that's because people were driving stolen cars and dumping them off into the Bronx River. And we'll take a look at that in a few minutes. This is an original ramp leading onto the Bronx from the Sheridan Expressway. The divider on the left there was always painted yellow and black, and as you can see, it's been smashed thousands and thousands of times. I once saw a Cadillac Seville completely on top of there. That's the Bronx River that I spoke of earlier, and the highway on top is the Bronx. People used to dump cars in the river, which as you can see is somewhat polluted as it is. That green hue is caused by many years of chemicals and other waste that were dumped into the river. This area here is basically off limits. There is no way you're supposed to be able to get in there. I, myself, have been down there many times. This again is a view of the ramp getting on the Bronx. You'll notice it's got the original green guardrail. That iron guardrail you see behind you. There were some spots of it that are missing. That's because it was knocked out over the years by trucks. But what's really interesting is what's underneath the highway. I've been under there many times myself. I guess about the last time I was there was about 5 or 6 years ago, before they built the new bus depot. And let me tell you something. You do not want to go under there alone. It is dangerous as hell. Bad people hang out under there. That's the Bronx River. And it's a rather photogenic scene, if I don't say so myself. But the trick is actually getting under there, because they built the new bus depot. And ever since they built the new bus depot, they put razor wire all around that section and you can't get in there. I think I know a way to get in though, and in a future video I'll take you under there. But this I filmed last week, and it was 10 degrees out. I was freezing. I had my car running for most of the time, and I didn't really want to go too far. But as you can see, this is the original ramp from the Sheridan Expressway getting onto the Cross Bronx, and they have not changed it in all these years. I think that's great. I love our original highways. I don't like these new boring concrete superstructures. I think that our history can be traced back to these original things, and it's just so rich in local color. There's the bus depot on your left, and look at the razor wire. There's no way Crazy New York Driver is going to try climbing that, but I think I can get in from the other side, from the Metro North tracks. But as you can see, the highway was empty because I went there early on a Sunday morning to do this. And yes, naturally it was a cloudy day because that's all we ever get in the Northeast, are cloudy days. But now, the Cross Bronx Expressway here, I'm looking westbound from my spot where I was standing. And again, I'm standing right by the Sheridan Expressway interchange. I'm at the top of the ramp here, getting onto the Cross Bronx. And you can see there's your original guardrail. But I want to take you underneath, and I want you to see the concrete on these pillars has all fallen off over the years. So much so that there are 2 generations of graffiti. Real is on the outside edge, while the other guy is on the new exposed area. The fact that the concrete has fallen off is not dangerous, so don't worry about that. But what is dangerous is this little bad boy right here. A wide gap in the railing where a light pole is missing. I don't think it was hit. I think it was probably stolen with the scrap metal. And anyway, anybody could fall down there and die. That's something they should really look into and put a fence up there or something to keep people out. This is the very top of the ramp. You can see that's all original material. Just concrete has been dug out. And if you want to see what it looks like when you're driving in your car, I jumped back on and did the loop around, and I'm on the westbound side now, just going over the Bronx River Parkway. Directly underneath me is the bus depot that I just showed you earlier. And as we get a little bit further on, you're going to see the ramp that I was standing at. That's where this big 18-wheeler is coming on from now. That's the ramp where I was parked at for most of the film. But again, that's all I'm going to show you today. I got more coming up in a future video. Thanks for sticking with me. Comments below. Go out and have a good day.